Get on a little bit. A little bit more annoying day at work. I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was just at the end, it was kind of in the ass. Well, we'll take a skill away and go silver and all. Oh man. Well, the gunslinger.
Wave 1.
Oh man.
I don't want to know what happened here. Just a second, asshole! Hey! I need this on the Snapchat! Damn it! And that's what's to the wave.
But yeah, worker's pretty good up front in general. I can't see anything really happen. Other than one thing that was just kind of just. We had some person that was just being kind of a nuisance outside of our place, really, and then it was someone that was just drunk or whatever. Or at least, hey, he was doing anything really bad, he's just kind of annoying. But psychologically, a lot of shit happened. Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between. We didn't have enough people to work with them. One of the guys I actually really do like up there, he got very small attention span. And he kind of drifts off a little bit here and there. Cool ass dude, like he worked really fucking well when he's focused. But sometimes he goes off focus sometimes. Which is not common. You know, people do that shit actually outrageously a lot in general. But like when we're busy and that, like every second counts. And like I'm gonna say this as being as nice as possible. And out of all respect, and hopefully this person learns. Sometimes getting upset at something and freaking the fuck out doesn't help. Calm and collected seems to get this shit done a lot better. It doesn't matter how things are doing you. That's what Christ always says, that you know, when we listen to the Word of God, there's no point in destroying yourself. Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it's to teach you a lesson. God likes to discipline us so we can grow and be better. Well, for instance, some people don't look at life like that. They look at life should be the one that changes, not us. And it's like, well, that's stupid because life will never change unless you change it.
I'm a natural.
They say our realities are bound to what we do. I know a lot of people probably don't think that way, because it's harder to change yourself than it is to change a reality. Well, for instance, you're not changing anything. It's the fixation of fantasizing about things being a certain way because you assume of it. Why don't people do this? Why don't people do that? Why don't you do this and why don't you do that? That's probably one of the like the biggest terminologies I love to say is, you know, judge thyself first before you judge another, which implicates in many different ways. Sometimes it's your fucking fault. You're the one at fault, but you blame others for your fault. That's literally how I actually look at it. If you're at fault, yes, it's hard to blame yourself because you get that ego, you get that pride. That's why pride is such a bad sin and the ultimate sin, because you can never grow. When people say, I shouldn't have to change, listen to those words. I shouldn't have to change. They know they have to, but they say, I shouldn't have to. So who are you controlling? You're not control of anything then. Because you have to ask the question, should I or should I not? You say, well, I know I have to, but I shouldn't. Everybody does that. Well, start saying, I have to change. I have to develop. I have to get stronger. My life only changes based upon what I want to change. And that's the biggest problem, always will be the biggest problem. And I understand a lot of people don't understand that because society demands that we don't change, so we join the big old bubble groups. And that they all complain about each other. Got males and females complaining about each other, you know, saying women need to go back to where they were and that, not working at, which is fine. I agree with that in some senses. But in other senses, I don't agree with it at all. Because we can't go back in time. We can't go back to how it is. We have to adjust ourselves to it. So, who doesn't really want to change? Do I believe feminism is bad? Yeah. In some ways. Because, you know, it's not even saying that all the concepts of it is bad. I'm saying, you know, some of the concepts are hurting men by how women could be treating them. I don't want a woman to be 100%, you know, thinking that she has to rely on me for money when she make her own money. She will, but a good woman would understand. It's easier to be rich together than it is to be poor apart. That's a good concept. 2 paychecks always seem to make not even double the fucking money. You save double, if not triple the money. I mean, yes, nothing will be even. Of course not. When women scream equal rights, they have no idea what they're saying. When beta males scream, you know, why is there alpha males and why is there a male out there that lift fucking weights to get big muscles and they mock them? And I see it. There's just one YouTuber I watch off and on. He's just a comedic YouTuber. He does shit for fucking content. I have to say that up front. Because he does. But he makes fun of people that lift weights. But most times, not because they lift weights, it's because they're on steroids. And some people are not on steroids, and some people are.
Anyone need ammo?
Well, most of them are. But see, he keeps talking about, I don't understand bodybuilding. Why do people do that stuff and that? You know, when you actually listen to bodybuilders and that, you actually start to see certain things. You start to see the reality. Because it's something hard, and it needs to be done if you want to do it. You know, I look at him and he makes fun of people that lift weights, but he looks no bigger than the average fucking man. He's not that really like super fucking like gigantic detail man. You know, he's not like his muscles are bulging off his shirt and shit. So it's like, well, you never been through it. So everybody does is no one judges themselves first. Not 100%. And a lot of people do things for fucking money, even if it is, you know, wrong. And people, you know, I can ask why. It's like, why do people do things for money? Not so much because they think it's a power struggle. Instead of lifting weights, so to speak, and getting stronger, they do that power struggle with something else. That's how power always implicates. It always implicates something. And I know people don't want to think like that. But it is the truth. Everyone has to find some type of power to hold on to. Some type of thing that makes them think that they're worthy of living. Because having willpower takes a lot out of you. A lot of people don't have the will to live. So they cuddle with safeties of groups. And they do it a lot, too.
Got ammo here.
That's why I always see like a big old group of fucking friends now. If I see a gigantic group of friends, then I can already tell that there's a lot of cowards in there. They only do things because someone else is doing it.
Must be the cleaner's day
So
off.
then inside their minds, they only think I'm strong because I have friends. Yeah, you can be strong because you have friends. I agree with you on that. But sometimes you have to be alone. Sometimes you don't need to have someone. Sometimes you have to think on your own.
You've been eager or sting or shit.
And, you know, a lot of people can't accept that reality up front. And it's hard to sometimes. You know, everyone has to go through it. No one's born fucking perfect. No one's born with anything besides the genetics that we have.
Nice, huh? I didn't expect you to do none of this, that's man. Surprising. What a cookie. Damn it! Oh shit!
And that's kind of one of the things that, you know, I learned from myself. That took so much time of my life to actually learn. Some people learn a lot quicker. Yeah, and some people don't learn at all. Some people stagnate themselves very heavily. Because I think after high school that they can't, you know, do anything or say, well, I have to go to college now. It's like, you know, the world is literally up for you to grab. You know the world is up for you to learn, to do anything you want to do. Whatever is in your desire book, as long as it's not fucking ridiculously fucking stupid.
Activate Omega Maneuver 12. Get them, my children. Anyone need ammo? Oh shit! Smackdown!
You know.
I'm a natural. Found it. Stop me! I double dare you! Not good! Nice up. Let's go! Just gotta make sure. I'm making the best match ever!
And that's, you know, that's what it comes down to, you know. It's like we have to, it's hard to be like that. It's hard to say, I make mistakes. It's the most difficult thing in the world to say, I have problems with making mistakes. A lot of people can't even, like, comprehend that, or even, like, think it's like, oh, what? Oh, well, I don't make mistakes at all. Knowing that you're saying that is a lie, that you're making a mistake right now. So why we have these concepts that people do that stuff and that, they're like, I never want to be wrong. Where does that even come from? Like, how in the world do we have such mindsets? Spoiledness. People that are spoiled. And what does spoiled even, like, mean, to a certain extent? You know, given everything without earn it for yourself. Like, for me to learn this, I only spent what I worked for.
Keep using the pod. I'll see if I can get your fingers stuck in it.
So if I believe I deserve something that I like, then I have to say, did I work for it? No, it's like, here's what I say. We'll say it in anime reference, because people like watching anime. How many people want to watch an anime that some dude's just sitting there? He's a fat fucking dude. And I watch plenty of these animes. Some fat ass dude that becomes a superhero. He gets fucking lean and he gets fucking ripped, and everybody loves him because he's so modest and positive and so strong and beautiful. You know, how can you retain that with real life? Well, I guess you can look at it from this perspective. You know, that I'm going to get jumped. Oh god, they come in really heavy. Someone's gonna... That one.
Watch out! Someone call a cleaner! None of the sets made it in. Surprising. Want a cookie?
You guys. Like they're fucking molested over here.
You got a cloaker!
Do I hate invisible bitches?
Nice, huh?
I guess ridiculous.
This area remains mostly secure.
Yeah, that's just why I kinda like the fire bat. Fire bat can just hit a lot of shit. Man, I say I love this guy so much, but like his guns are just all the fucking same.
Hands up if anyone's got their fresh.
Like they all just shoot fucking guys too. They shoot saw blades with ricochet and bounce off people, and you got the rhino one, which but that one doesn't really do as good. Sometimes it does good, but it's like
That's good.
it's a chance to how you hit people, Matt. I don't have time to fucking aim my gun and ricochet off the wall, Matt, and be all cool as fuck.
Wave 10. It's
seems I must take a personal hand
But yeah,
in this.
like we just gotta look at life from a learning perspective. And that's the biggest conclusion it came down to with a lot of people not. They refuse. They literally refuse to learn. They get stubborn in that. They say a bunch of shit in that. They make no fucking sense half the damn time. And they sit there and they scream and shout about things. Which is alright, you know. You could be a fucking bitch in that and scream and shout about things. I get it, you know. You don't know something, you're eventually gonna, you know, keep on yelling about it anyway. You're gonna yell about what you don't know. Or you're gonna try to look at your knowledge bay and see if you do know something about that situation or about that discussion. And you want to chime in on it.
I don't want
Yeah, ridiculous
to know
amount
what
of
happened here.
people do that stuff. Let's say me and Common Collective are really just thinking. Thinking first before you emote. And trust people that are around you. Like, people get so emotionally, people get so scared.
Cover your ears, siren!
And I hear them talking now, they get so frightened about stuff and that. And like, but they want to claim that they're powerful. They want to claim that they're strong. I said, if you're so strong, then why are you sitting there like getting so scared? That's the most ironic thing in the fucking world. Be like, oh, I'm not scared of nothing. I'm scared of everything. I don't want to die. How many people do that shit? So, like, I'm not scared, I promise you that. Hey, you're a dick.
You know that Vexpal's on steroids.
I said there's nothing wrong with being afraid. But when you sit there and you say stuff that makes no sense and you just want to, like, just talk. It's like someone that's ever been in a fight believes they know how to fight. And these are the loudmouth pricks that literally sit there and yell and fucking scream emotionally. They might say, well, I lift a lot of weights.
Where is a bikini when you need it? I don't know why I gave you money.
Yeah.
Spend it, or whatever.
You can lift a lot of weights, but why? I mean, you might be strong, but it's not even, like, it's a mentality of you. You could have, like the biggest martial arts secret ever. Build muscle and train that muscle how to fight. You have to build your body up first, and then you train how to fight. Because you can't know your potential unless you build it up first. And then you can train it how to hit, how to strike. Your nervous system reacts to it, how fast your nervous system becomes from training. The punching sequence, the dodging sequence, you know, stuff like that. And people don't want to think like that. They're like, well, I'm big and strong, got gigantic arms. What are you going to do? You can choke me. Or I'm just saying, like, in general. It's not even about fighting. It's just in general with anything in life. It's like when you talk and you say, I talk, and like I said a little bit ago, about the fear thing. You want to say, I'm not scared. And I say to you, if you're not scared, then why are we having these issues? Why are we sitting there? You know, it's like... I mean, I completely understand why people say things and say things sometimes. It makes them feel cool, it makes them feel strong. And it feels strong. Feeling strong and being strong are two different things. There's so many people out there that literally feel strong and they do, nothing. Their lives are pretty much dead because they feel too much. And feelings don't get anything done. There's no actions with talking about something. A feeling is a natural response to something because it's trying to protect you from other something, but that could be massive fucking trauma too. So if you have massive trauma, that you're always gonna feel like that negative spark on you. Just saying, what you seek is what you will find. If you feel negative all the time in that, and you want to sit there and be like, I can't be positive. The world's so bad in that. I said, why is the world bad? What's so bad about the world? And give me an example. Well, there's wars in that. Where? You're trying to say there's wars in that. But when you implicate the war factor, they only talk about those things because why? The Iraqis, we're having wars with Iraq and that. We always have war with Iraq. What's new? Exactly. There's nothing new. This shit's been going on for fucking, hundreds of years. He said the world's so bad. Well, if I say the world's so good, you say, why is the world so good? I don't know. You ever smelled flowers before? You ever looked at how beautiful flowers are when you walk around during the spring and during the summer or during the end of summer too? Or even during the fall? You ever realize how beautiful colors are? It's the simple things in life that make life great. Like, because when you constantly are thinking negative, you're never going to see the outlook of how positive life can be, or how positive life actually is. Why do you think some people nothing ever happens to? They live a great life, and other people bad things happen to them. Well, you look at the struggles of their life. Are they at fault, and they believe they're at fault? These are good morals that actually Jesus teaches us. You're special, yes. But are we perfect? No. And the Father God knows that. And this is the reason why we keep on circulating this stuff over and over again. It's like a big old repeat. If you don't teach your children moral law and you throw them into a public fucking school, they get taught cultist law, which is culture law, and then whatever culture trend that's happening for that decade or so, depends how much it changes, they're going to believe it. So it's all about, what's the word? Belief. So if I believe in God Almighty, the Father, and the Word, God Almighty, the Son, and the Spirit, God Almighty, the Holy Ghost, and I read about it and I understand the proper moral laws that the Word is, I don't have to read the whole Bible. People say I have to read the whole Bible. No, I don't have to read the whole Bible. There's a lot of things in the Bible that you can look at, that they're prophets and that I talk about. You read the New Testament, it's literally just the Word is the most important thing. Jesus Christ is the most important thing. Period. So when you read the Word, that you research it, you have other people, talk about that. You want to understand it more than that, and then you understand, okay, why does God's Word so metaphoric? Well, it's because not everybody's going to understand it. And the best thing that I read, one of the best things I read from Jesus, and he said, there's plenty many people that believe in me that don't even know me. He said that to his disciples. He's for like, you guys see me do miracles now, you guys see me do stuff, but you still don't have belief in me. You still don't have all faith in me. Like, you don't believe it's 100% real. That's skepticism. So when we use the word skepticism, we start using it in our life and that. How many times have people have looked at something and never believed that it's true? Even though it's right in front of you. So when you go down the seven deadly sins, the worst sin is pride. Pride is the reason why people don't want to learn. Pride says, I'm good the way that I am, and I shall not have to change for anybody else. But the thing is, you have a brain that constantly changes. You have a body that constantly gets older. You are changing no matter what the fuck you think that you are. These people that do this stuff and that have this mentality, they follow culture law. Culture law saying, you know, try to live as long as you can, that because you only have one life to live. You hear that all the time. Arnold talks about it. He's like, there's no heaven. No, Arnold, I love you, bro, but you're a fucking moron. For something that came from old Germany, and Germany was like really Christian, like, you should know better, and your parents should know better. Bless their souls. I know they're dead and that, but like, come on, bro, get the fuck, get your head out of your ass. And why does someone think that? Well, God specifically explains it. He says, for people that live life on earth, like heaven, they have all the amenities, of like, I'm interpreting it in my own way. Obviously, you said it in a little bit different way than that, but we'll look at it from that perspective. People that live okay, we'll go with this. When Jesus speaks the word out, for the ones that are poor, blessed to thee, they will inherit, heaven. The ones that suffer will inherit, salvation. And he always uses these words. The people that are, they live life hell on earth to a certain extent. They don't live life with the blesses of everything. Some people live life because they use other people for money now. You ever know why there's rich people in the world? Well, if people stop buying market shit and just live with the bare necessities, then rich people will never be rich. It's like everyone buys Teslas and shit. I say if everybody stopped buying Teslas, Elon Musk will lose billions of dollars. He wouldn't be the richest man. He would still have money. Yeah, he probably invest in something else. But this is how it works. Rich people use middle class people or semi broke people for what? For necessity. It's always one person gains more than everybody else. How do you gain more? It's like you go on YouTube that. How do people gain money now? They gain by views. Okay, views is masses going in, looking at that person because they're entertained, probably fake as fuck in that. They do all this exciting stuff in that, and they moralize it with culture. Like, oh, this is the newest fad in that. Look at Mr. Beast in that. He became a billionaire overnight. Yeah, a 22-year-old fucking kid became a billionaire in like 3 years. Why? Because the masses. Kids. And yeah, they're not paying for it. Ad revenue's paying for it. Well, ad revenue's coming from what? Coming from gigantic trillion-dollar corporations. They have money to throw around because they're the main product line. Because there's things that you just need in this modern world. You always need wood and concrete and metal to build a house. You look around your house and all that shit is manufactured for you to buy so you can live in comfort. It's not like you're chopping down your tree and formulating your own tent like Jesus did back then. And carry his tent around with him and that. And then put the cloth back up again. And probably using oils and that from tree sap or whatever that he had to use to coat his tent up and that so water wouldn't leak through. It's literally how it is. Like how many people, look at it that buy old houses and they still live in a house that's been built for 56 years. A lot of people do that. No one builds new houses because they're too expensive, right? Yeah. But still, someone had to build it. Someone had to use materials to build it. And the companies that have those materials are the ones that are always the richest because they're necessity. So this is how the market line comes down to. No? This is how rich people stay rich. And the philosophy of, Keen solemn. It kind of like throws it down like this. People that are greedy always look for money. What you seek is what you will find. So if your mind seeks wealth, you'll chase after wealth. You'll do whatever it takes to make that money. But what is money? Act of survival. How much shit do you actually need to buy to live life? Okay, well, I'll go from my perspective. What's all the things I want to, have in life? Okay, well, I wouldn't mind having a vehicle in that because sometimes, walking does suck in that. I don't mind driving to a place in that because walking to the gym and walking back is a fucking struggle. Sometimes it taps in on my energy in that. I don't bring protein shakes to that. I normally do all that stuff when I get home, but to get up to the gym and back, it's literally 100 minutes. So if you look at that, it's an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm going to the gym for probably 2 hours, give or take. It's about a 45-minute walk, depending on how fast I walk. If I keep a good pace that's quicker than normal, I can get home at 35. So getting up there is probably 5 to 10 minutes faster than getting back. So an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, I could have the luxury of having, say, like my parents drop me off. Or I could ride a bike. Or I can get a car. But once I get that car, what's going to happen? I'm going to want to do other things because I have it. It's kind of how rich people work. They always want more. Hold on. Oh, man, that was a good one. Woo! That was a spicy meatball. I turn the fan on. I gotta blow it. But yeah, that's how you look at rich people. Rich people are always trying to sit there and make deals. So let's talk about why is everyone buying electric vehicles? What does it come down to? Who's initiating this? The globalists. So like, oh, the globe's dying. Buy electric. You act like they don't have deals with Elon Musk. Of course they fucking do. They're like, hey, we'll give you this and that. You build these electric cars and that. Because everybody already had the technology for over 50 fucking years now. And out of nowhere, they're starting to build it. They're starting to really put it on the market because no one wants to buy them. Because they weren't, tested out good enough and they're fucking expensive. Okay. So then we go to, the investments of these things. So you can buy Tesla stock and you can make Elon Musk more money. And then if Tesla stock does good, you can make more money, right? So it's just a bunch of rich people living off of other rich people. So other rich people that don't have, billions of dollars and that live off, they're the ones that satisfy the millionaires. So as Elon Musk is making more money now, or anybody else, it doesn't matter. It's everybody. Let's say, look at Donald Trump. He's a real estate agent. Yeah. House is a necessity. You have to have a house. You don't have to have a Tesla. You don't have to have a car. At least not bring a new one. Well, with cars comes mechanics. You see where I'm going at with this? These become necessities, and that's the marketplace wants you to do. They want you to think it's a necessity to have all this shit. That's why they're rich. They're brainwashing you to think you need something that you actually don't need. At least not brand new. Yes, vehicles I understand. Nowadays, you have to be able to get to work, and sometimes you have to work an hour away. Sometimes you have to work, 10, 15 minutes away, but if you walk, it take you 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So yeah, there's a necessity to that. But you ever think that maybe that's just how they made it? Or do you think that everything was made in a specific way? Society now, if you take a map and you say you Or say if you sit there and you look at the world from far away, just your town, and you look at there's a bunch of cul-de-sacs where everybody lives at. Oh, it'll be real. Like, I hate this one. There's a bunch of cul-de-sacs where everyone lives at. But for some reason, there's not a lot of businesses right next to the cul-de-sacs. There's a little bit in that main street you might live on that. They're not businesses that are really like big. Like I live next to a bunch of food places. I got a couple mechanic shops. I got a couple of financial places and that. You know, I got a dentist and that. You know, I got a couple of things right next to me. You know, it's like I've been wanting to get a job, say at like MacArthur's, which is down the street from my house, literally like not even a 3-minute walk for a long time because it's close. Never will hire me. The closest job I ever got was working at the car wash. That I wish would have stayed open. Hire me for about, I think it was getting close to 2 years, really close to 2 years. And I got fucked. I wanted to become assistant manager. I wanted to make about 17. And it was getting close to happening, but it didn't happen because my GM did not want me to advance. He always said he said a bunch of good stuff about me. And like I'm sure he probably did say some good stuff about me because I was the only one that actually hold his ass up while he was reaping the benefits. Because we would take turns helping each other out. And that's the reason why we kind of had like this weird cycle. You know, when he had to do shit and they say, I got to do some stuff and I might be gone for a couple hours. And I was like, well, fucking leave then. Now, it's your life. Leave. You get in trouble, you get in trouble. I mean, yeah, I might cover for you for a little bit because we have that transition, you know. We cover for each other that. But then it got a little fishy in that, and I started looking at it from all these perspectives that this is how people actually act. Sometimes people just lie about everything and they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So we look at the marketplace and that and go back to that, go back to what Jesus said, go back to King Solomon, all that stuff and that where God gave him everything. You just have to really look at it. All that shit doesn't do anything. The lying, the cheating, the pill popping, the weed smoking, the drinking. And when we look back as a child on that, it's like, what? Like you always have a child, you know, a family neighborhood that's always like loving and caring as fuck. Very loving, very caring. They care about the community. That them are Jesus followers or crackheads. They have an illusion. They're like, oh, we're happy as fuck. We do a lot of drugs, or we have sex with random people in that, like swingers. I'm thinking about Haunted House, the Wayne brother Haunted House. Good movie. But sometimes legitimately they have good families. But they don't argue a lot. They, you know, they maintain their purpose with their children. That so, you know, it's like if I think back of all the kids I hung out with and that when I was in, you know, elementary school, middle school, and high school, I sit there look at all their families and I compare them to my family. I think my family did pretty fucking well. I mean, it was, you know, argumentative and that. There was emotions spilling everywhere and that, yeah. But with that, I learned a lot from that. Instead of escaping it, say like my brothers did, I put my mind to it. I put my faith into the Father to show me how to alleviate the situation, to get closer to the family instead of getting farther away. So the biggest thing is acceptance. You have to accept it. You have to accept life for what it is. And that's the number one thing King Solomon kept talking about. You get all this stuff and that, but reality is you have to accept reality for what it is. So if I know rich people all over the place. They're fucking all over the place. Millionaires, you know, they live a normal life. And one of the guys, you know, that I talked to, you know, from the gym, that he has millions of dollars. He tells me that he has money. He doesn't be very specific on his money now, but I can tell he has money now because he's a 50-something-year-old dude. He's jacked as fuck. I know he's on tests. And he talks about he's like, yeah, I used to take SARMs and steroids and that, but they never really did anything. You know, I gained like 5 or 10 pounds of muscle, and I had to keep on juicing more to get more muscles and that. And I said, exactly. And you might get a little bit stronger. And you might gain 10 pounds of muscle, and then you end up losing all when you get off the cycle. I said, what's the whole purpose of that? Just to do it, just to get that feeling of accomplishment. That's the only reason why people do it. That's why I exercise. I just want this accomplishment. I want to know where I can take my genetics to. So I exercise. I lift weights, eat a fuckload of protein. That I maintain good form in that as best I can. I don't use monstrous heavy weights. I normally do more squeezes than that. I use more form. And that's what happens. But it doesn't mean I should take that to a pride moment. And I would talk about the fucking alphabet, pride. And then they are prideful. That's probably why, they're massive sinners and why their lives are so involved with stupidness. They believe in stuff that literally is satanic as fuck. I didn't want to say, Lucifer doesn't judge. That's funny, that. Because when Jesus died on the cross, Lucifer has no power. Well, we shouldn't be judged. You don't need to be judged. Because we're all bad. We all get judged eventually, but, you don't need to be judged right now. But later on, you will. No matter what. That's why Jesus died. He was God created in flesh. He was the only mortal, let me say God, because he had a flesh, but his spirit was God. He was the only perfect thing, period. Even all the saints faltered, and they know they did. That's the whole point. We all came from sin, so we all should see it from that perspective. It gets scary sometimes. We're like, well, what do I do? You have faith in God, and you let him control your life to a certain extent. But people don't like that word control. Well, I want to do what I want to do. You can do what you want to do. Because a lot of things that you do are just habits of excitement. You're in habit mode. If you think about that, like this, if you're happy and laughing, God's with you. God wants you to be happy and laughing. That's the plan for everybody, to enjoy life and to be happy. King Solomon talks about that. He says, without God, you can never be happy. That's the whole point of the void, being filled with greed and money and drugs and sex and that. It doesn't fill it. Why? Because it can't. Because you adjust to the worldly things, but you can't adjust to eternal up above, because it's called eternity for a reason. You can adjust to time, because that's what time does. As you grow older, you adjust yourself to the world. All the stuff you learn. That's why the tree of knowledge is so what? Is so bad. Because once you gain knowledge, God can't. You lose faith, first of all, because you start to control your own life based upon what? Based upon the things that you do, or the things that you see or hear from the world. So you stop hearing God so much. God's voice fades away a little bit. That's the point. People want to take that into consideration of why life is the way it is, but it hasn't always been like that. The reason why we do certain things and that because of survival. Well, what if everything was done for you? What if survival was just picking a fruit from a tree and eating it. Perfect weather. Perfect everything. Everything's just perfect. That's what eternity is, perfection. Because you don't change. You can't change. You live that same existence forever. So if you use it in your real life and say you can go back to your past and make yourself literally forget every single fucking damn thing you learned before you went to school and that, probably when you were like 4 years old, when you had the most fun in your life, everything was so interesting. Oh, look, an animal. Oh, look, video games. And you could erase all your fucking memories until that moment where you had the most fucking fun. And take that moment of fun and excitement and everything just was so good. That apple was more crisp and more flavorful. The little oranges you used to eat when you're younger and that. Or the fruit cups and that. Or like food in general and that. You bring yourself all the way back to that mindset. And you take that mindset and that life for what you had in the past and you make that expand for eternity. That's how I think heaven literally is. And everyone has the most happiest moments in their life. And you always want to say, I wish I could live this forever. That is God. That is eternal. That is heaven. So why don't you want that? Why don't you want to have faith? He already gave you a taste of heaven. And people want to sit there and be like, heaven doesn't exist. You already know what heaven's like. We lived it. Has anyone ever fallen in love before? That internal peace where you literally everything dissipates, where all you're thinking about is being with that person, and all you're thinking about is love. Where do you think love comes from? The Father. That's what heaven's like. And people say the same words over again. I wish I could live this forever, this moment forever. And God says, well, He says in the Bible, that is, yeah, that's your enjoyment. That's what He wants you to do. He wants you to live that forever. That ain't coming from me. It's coming from the Bible itself. Now, when they talk about it, like, if you enjoy life, it's because you're happy. Most times you're happy, it's because you're with the Father. The Father makes you happy. He knows exactly. The Father knows exactly how you are, and He wants your life to be set up in the best way of enjoying it possible. So people say, oh, God wants to control. Guys, it's already controlled. It's just you have the will to either let Him take it or not to take it. That's exactly why we have these conundrums. Sometimes people give into it, they'll have faith, and they're just like, I don't care anymore. I just want to enjoy my life. And then they enjoy it. That's what I say. I tell people to stop caring about all this negative shit. If negative stuff comes up, brush it off. You fight negative with love. You fight negative with positivity. If someone has an issue in that, and you say, hey, here's the issue, it's more or less likely discipline. That's what love is. Love isn't, love in our world and that is a lot of discipline. You do something wrong because you're a sinner, you have to alleviate your sin. Ask for forgiveness and try to push past that sin as best as you can. But sometimes you're going to go back into it, and you always will. Some sins people will never commit. Like, I would never murder anyone. I would never kill anyone. That's a sin I would never commit. Because I know I don't want to commit it. My heart tells me no. Like, my worst sin is probably, I would say it's a sexual sin, like most people. That's a thorn at my side. All the time. I got brought into when I was a little kid. And for some reason, it won't go away. I prayed for it. I forced myself to stop doing it. And the only times it ever works out is when I'm so exhausted. And a lot of times that's the reason why, I do it. I do for exhaustion exert. Even though I walk everywhere, I lift a bunch of weights and shit, and I lift fucking really hard. And lift really fucking long. On back day, I probably do 25 to 30 fucking sets. just back alone, I say 20 to 30 sets, depending on the day. I do different machines. All depends on how I feel. Sometimes I'll do like 6, 7 sets of lat pull downs, and then I'll go to the fucking pullback machine, the back pull machine, and I'll do 7 or 8 sets of that. That's 15 or so sets. And sometimes, I'll go back to another exercise in that uses back in that. I'll do rhomboids in that. So use my back in that. I'll do 5 or 6 sets of shoulder rhomboids. I'm already at 20 plus sets. Of course, different angles in that, and different muscles. Not using my full back, no. And for some reason, I mean, yeah, I do take pre-workout. I do take a lot of caffeine in that. I have to say that probably is my problem. But even with that, like yesterday, the day before that, I was so fucking tired. It was super hard to walk home 2 days ago. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, man, I'm exhausted, I'm yawning, I'm tired. I'm like, man, am I dehydrated? And I was thinking to myself, I'm just recovering. And I was talking to my assistant manager about that. But that's the way my life is. And I agree, everyone can sit there and be like, well, people have similar lives. They really do. We're kind of all in this together. But we gotta stop with the pride. We have to stop with the pride. Because pride without change leads to all other sins. That's how you become less sinless in this world. You're still gonna sin, because sinning is just thinking of something. And when Matthew talked about that with Jesus and that, and Matthew said that Jesus like, so if I look at another woman that's betrothed in that, just looking at her is a sin. Just a thought of saying thinking of banging someone else's girlfriend is a sin. Thinking that. And Jesus, no. He said, yeah. And he's confused. He's like, why? So, and the whole concept of it is, at least that I've noticed from my own perspective, Jesus is telling you, you're going to do it anyway because that's in your nature. The only way that anyone could not be like that is to be utter alone with God and only God alone. Nothing else around you. And that's where most sin comes from, because a bunch of people coming together in that, which is fine. But the way our minds think, and that there's always something going on. So yeah, I think about banging a lot of girls and that. I look at girls' butts all the time and that, and their boobs and that, and my ideas come in my head. Do I act on those ideas? No. Do I try to act on them at all? Like try to communicate and try to do a rejection thing? Like, oh hey girl, like, how you doing? He's like, I have a boyfriend. No, I don't do that. Have I tried it? Yeah. Never works. Because some women are very faithful. And that's a good learning process. Like, okay. But does it mean that women try that on me? Yeah. Women with boyfriends always try that on me. Because if I don't try it on them, and they work with me long enough, unless they're 100% faithful, which I say that they are, but they're not. Like Max, for instance, she wasn't 100% faithful to the man that she was with. And she wasn't faithful with me either. That's why I didn't care that she did what she did. Because I knew it was going to happen. She didn't think I knew. I already knew it was going to happen. I said, that's your problem. I didn't know at any point, say after our little honeymoon phase, when I start seeing dramatic change with you, I already knew that either someone else is in my relationship with me, because you weren't with me alone. Ideas start popping up in my head. And this is how you get to all these concepts that Jesus always talks about. Sometimes you have to submit yourself to God and have God be the one that leads you. Just like they say, the Father knows best. They're not lying about that. That terminology is literally the truth. The Father knows how to raise a boy to be a man. The Father knows how to raise a daughter to be a woman. And people say, well, what does the mom have to do with it? Well, the mom is the helper of that, not the main guider. Because if you say, like, if I had a daughter and I taught her how to love a man, I taught her how to look for a good man, in her mind, that she'll probably look for a nice guy. She'll look for a gentle guy. She won't look for looks. That's the problem. It's like most feminist women, they look for just looks. They literally do not care about the person at all. It's about looks and status. Does that person look good with me? That's literally how my ex was, 100%. When you fantasize about celebrities and that's when you know that you're just a looker. Like, oh, well, but what about this girl and that, this girl and that? All you girls look the fucking same. You don't need to work that fucking much to get good looking or to get attractive. Just have weight and have a fat little ass. You'll instantly get more traction than anything. Literally, be skinny and look healthy and have a fat butt. Or if you naturally have big boobs, have big boobs. Guys can't do that. Guys have to lift weights for years and build their bodies up. That's why you see guys that sit there, you look at them from high school, like if you knew like people from high school and that, they say people saw me now. There's only a couple of guys I know in high school that were always fucking like, they're very athletic and that they're always has six pack and have big muscle and shit. Why? Because they're very disciplined. Their parents disciplined the shit out. Their father literally disciplined them. Say, it's not about the attraction. You always like getting stronger. You're gonna get more attractive. Because strength leads to power, and power leads to attraction. 100%. So say, like, for instance, if a woman, like, sits there and watches me pick up something that's so heavy for them, and they can barely pick it up, and they're barely, like, wobbling down the thing, and I pick it up with one arm, and I'm carrying it like it's nothing. What do you think that woman's going to think? That's power, and that's fucking hot. Always. Who doesn't like that? Just like if I see a girl now that's very attractive in that, I'm like, she has big boobs or something like that. I'm like, damn. I'm gonna be like, damn, she got big boobs. People say, well, bigness has something to do with power. Yeah. Every girl wants to see a foot long dick. Doesn't mean they want to take it. Doesn't mean they don't want to play with it. That's power. How many girls are like, yeah, I've seen gigantic dicks before, and I guess I've been with a lot of dudes in that. It's impressive. It doesn't mean they want it like that. That shit ain't gonna fit in me. Yo, baby, it's gonna fit. Where's that canola oil at, girl? You have to use the whole coconut. Actual coconut. I guess you can dig in a coconut. But that's so funny. It's like, it's always a power thing when it comes to certain things. Either it's looks or strength, funniness, being funny in that, being outspoken. Them are all power types. We say for relationships and that, when we're talking about relationships, that has a lot to do with what Jesus is saying now, That's just how women and men are made. We're made to enjoy each other. But if we're not looking at the heart, the spirit, and we're looking at only the flesh, hence why there's a lot of issues. I can get strong. I'm not getting strong and looking good because, I want to get more and more attraction. It's going to happen no matter what because that's just the natural thing of being stronger, building muscle and that. You're going to get a physique. And yeah, I can have confident moments, which I intentionally do. I know I'm attractive. It's been proven over and over and over again. And it's only gonna get better. Over and over again. Women ain't gonna say completely up front. Some of them do. And they're all like having a proud moment and probably, playing with themselves or something. Enjoying themselves. Yeah, it happens. Then you got the beta males, the scent males and that. They're like, why you get all this attention? I told one of I told someone this. They never asked that question, but I kind of give advice. Let me use advice for you. You need to stop caring about stuff, all this negative shit. You have to stop caring about it. Like, positive first for negative. If things don't go your way, you move the fuck on. Don't hang your fruit too long or it will rot. You want to move it around. You want to move on. Move on to a better, healthier pace because rot comes in your body, that comes in your soul and that, or your spirit when you got too much negative on you. Get a new job. Move out. Do something different. So say if I listen to two conversations of two different people talking about, certain things, and one guy a guy talks about his life based upon, his perspective and that. And then say someone else, more or less, we'll say a woman, talks about that same person's life. And they say specific things like they know. I'm like, once again, you talk, but you don't believe, you don't see it, you don't know it, but you talk like you do know it. People do that a lot. I get it. I think everyone has that moment where you're like, I believe I know you, and blah, blah, blah. I know certain things about people, Matt. How you act in front of me determines your personality. Especially when you're carefree and you're not having any emotional barriers up. You're just acting a fool, so to speak. Yeah. I want to drop their vulnerabilities every now and again, if not all the time. No, we all have those moments. It's 11 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to leave here probably about 12. Waiting for my food to digest. I have to move around a little bit. Hate being stagnant for too long. And I'm probably got to take a crap here in a little bit. Good to be boo boo. But yeah, so as I was talking to this kid and that, I said that stuff to him and he was telling me like, well, I don't really want to be at work in that. It's like I've been down that road. I had that same moment. I said it's because you're emotionally attached to someone that you want to be with, because you're obsessing about this someone, and that's the reason why there's problems. I said, bro, I'm gonna be upfront with you. Of course, I didn't say this to him. I didn't say this to him, but I was like thinking to myself that you're a pussy, bro. You're a coward, which means you lack initiative to change things in your life because you don't want things to change. You want things to be your way, which is a brat moment. That means Marsha, Marsha, Marsha moment. Everyone ever seen that show knows that's what it is. You're having that moment. And then you're sitting there and hating on that. You're like, why can't I get things that I want? Because you don't need it. You move on from that. And sometimes you're not disciplined enough. And you might ask the question, why does this person get this and I don't? Because you are not them. And they do certain things that are different. Maybe the idea is that's how that, say, girl or woman, depending on how you want to put it, wants from that man. Not all women want the same thing. At least for the most part. All women want a fucking hot, attractive guy, no matter what. I don't care. Unless they're actually faithful, which most, I'd say most of them aren't. Not 100% faithful. No. No one's 100% faithful. Ideas always pop in the head. I'm sure there's a couple times that women think about some dude that's hot, bends them over and plows their ass, and just that moment of thought, like, oh my god, it'd be so hot. Of course. They may not say it, but they'll think it 100%. They'll think about it. Oh, 100%, 100%, 100%. It comes into the mind because there's certain moments that stuff comes in, and it happened to me a lot. And men get very jealous. And they show it. Then again, I'm just like, well, I don't care what you think because that's you thinking that, but it's not me doing it. It's you assuming it. It's like I don't care. I tell everybody that everyone I cross now. I said I like got a new job and I said I zone out because I don't want to care. I don't care about the drama. Yes, it's fun that to interact when it's positive, but when people get negative, that I literally just focus on myself because I don't care. I don't care about your negative drama. You're just saying something because you don't want to change something. There's things that you can do to change something, but you don't want to because you're scared. And that's the number one thing that I see with some people in that. You're so afraid. You talk a big fucking game, but you're just afraid. You're scared. You're scared to death to do something. And like you don't want to do it. And then someone else has to do it for you in that. And that's where I'm going to our little scenario today. I have to say, did this happen? Yeah, it happened. It happened yesterday and that. But it happened many times before that too. And this is how the scenario goes down. So you get busy at work and that, and there's always one person that like lacks focus. And they always seem to drift off and do things that are not part of the job itself, like the main part of the job. Because when it's all hands on station, and say you're like in a submarine or something, because I watch, Down Periscope, love that movie. And there's always a person that drifts off. It's like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Well, I want to make me a sandwich. And I'm like, literally, we're at war right now, and you want to go in the back like a fucking idiot and make a sandwich in that where you literally, without you helping us, there's a huge chance that we might fucking die. You're like, oh, well, and that's how mistakes normally happen. That's how you have a lot of issues with that. People get frustrated in that and they freak the fuck out. Calm and collected. So, for instance, someone at your job and that, they drift off a lot. They like to move around a lot. They like to go in there and like stare at fucking shit and or like read stuff and that, or they ignore their job for a time being because they're waiting for something. They're waiting for you to get done with something so they can do their job. And it's like they're great workers when they're focused, but they drift off sometimes because they're like, well, I have a chance to drift off for a minute or so, so I'm gonna drift off from that. It says sitting there and say, stay at attention and do your job. They drift off, and they drift off. They'll sit around while everybody else is working. They'll sit around and ponder on their phone or ponder on a magazine or something or ponder on something that they enjoy. It's like there's other things that you can do. Well, I don't want to do it, so to speak. And then there's multiple things that happened the other day in that. They're just they do it all the time in that. They it's like you're at work. The mentality of work is to get work done, to get paid. If I take your paycheck away or take the money away from you for stuff that you didn't work for, you'd be mad. You'd be like, why'd you do that? Yeah, we weren't that busy in that, so I did sit around. I said, well, on the contrary, you weren't busy, but there's things that you could have done. So why should you deserve that money when you're not doing the things that need to be done? And it's like, say like people don't like doing certain things because of it's slightly hard on them. So okay, so someone else has to do it. There's always someone else that have to get it done. And don't you feel guilty that you didn't do it? Of course you do. But you stagnate yourself and you're like, you sit there like, this is what a coward is. This is what people are that are afraid of stuff. They sit there and they know they have to do it. But they're like, it'll pass once they get done. Yeah. So I say, like, for instance, for me, that if there's things that have to be done, I intentionally want to do it and do it as best I can. Now, if other people do it too, and we take turns doing something like that, say, like, for instance, my job is like cleaning up shit. Cleaning up stuff always takes forever sometimes. And there's some things that other people do that other people don't do, or don't do it as much. They do it when they have to. I say, you're at work, everything should be done accordingly. Say, like, if we're shorthanded in that, so to speak, which happens a lot at work, and, say, like, someone comes in, and they're like, okay, what do you want? They come in, and they do their job intended. They don't want to learn anything completely new. I'm sitting there like, oh, I want to learn everything I can, so I can be able to do everything as much as I can. So I learn little by little. My main job is my main job. I do that at the best of my ability. Make mistakes, of course. Not all the time. It's not happening as much, but I still make mistakes. And I don't want myself to get frustrated. I used to when I was younger, of course. I think everybody had that frustration when we were like, everything should be this way. Then why is life not perfect? And that's an older person says, you gotta stop caring. Calm and collected, just do your job. And it looks like, well, that's bullshit. And I've been like that. I mean, obviously, I think that's how liberals are. Well, the concept of a liberal person, that in my how I think about it, I think a lot of people think about it like this too. They're very emotional, and they're not in reality. Never. They make up a reality, and they try to implicate that reality so everybody else can be a part of that. And they're thinking like, you have to be this way because I say so. Like I say, your personality doesn't interpret who I am and my personality, so I really don't give a fuck. And I told someone that I'm just like, yeah, someone's personality, I shouldn't have to follow what other people think because I really don't care. So if I put my mind, I go like this. I put my mind on my money. I put my mind on my survival. Survival, that comes first. And my health. Entertainment, I'm always going to be entertained. But the biggest thing is, when I see people that do entertainment stuff at work and they like do more like entertainment than work some of the times, it doesn't always happen, but it does happen. Oh, woo, gassy. I think it's the protein bars are getting me. Them protein bars are not agreeing with me at all. Yeah, I don't know if I can eat them anymore. But yeah, my new mindset compared to how it used to be when I first started this channel has changed dramatically. I have changed dramatically. I'm in better shape now. My mindset's changed. And the only thing that I changed is I want to be part of actual fucking reality and the Word of God. If anyone's been on my channel long enough, has known me from the beginning, there is a lot of change. Do I still love the things I talk about? Yes. I love talking about psychology. I love talking about how things work in life because it's fun. It's interesting to me. The only spin that I do now is I talk about the word. I talk about the word a lot because it empathizes with me. And other people might, I always have someone come on here that's like an extreme atheist, and they'll say a bunch of gobbledygook and that, and they'll like never notice that they're literally saying stuff that they don't believe, just say it, mock. Like the one guy came on there, what's his name, like Issue Man or whatever it is, mocking me. Like, why are you mocking me for? Is it because you have a channel and your channel's not growing? Well, it's not my fault your channel's not growing. Now maybe you need to just make videos and talk about stuff that's interesting. Like, I don't know what to say. I know plenty of channels that people actually buy their subs and that, and like I'm like, okay. I'm trying to become popular and a celebrity now, like, but I don't care about it. Is my channel growing? Little by little it is. Yeah, I know I get subscribers now. I know I get them a lot. Look at that big ass 4. Farms are getting so big. Yeah, my channel jumped up probably like 20 subscribers in the last like 4 months. Woo! I mean, I care that people subscribe to me, but overall, like, I don't care about the number. If you want to watch me that and you can learn something from me and make life slightly better for you, then that's the main goal. And have a little fun making fun of stupid ass people. You ever ask why people do things and that? Like, you look at them, you're like, you do some really weird, as in not normal stuff. Like, hey, I've never seen that before. It's like putting ketchup on macaroni and cheese. Some people love that shit. Like, ketchup. The funny thing is, sometimes people put spicy tomato, what do they call them? The little cans of spicy tomatoes in their mac and cheese. It tastes fucking great. I'm like, oh man. But there's a difference between ketchup and that. Yeah, my food's digesting really well. My heat's starting to pick up. Yay! Man, my whole outlook of my channel has changed dramatically. I went from like, man, I want to get popular. I should have 1,000 subscribers by the first year, or 10,000 subscribers. I'm up thinking like, man, I might have all this stuff. And there's a trick to it. You gotta be part of the masses. It's like people give into the whole bodybuilder thing and they're all like, people spark up out of nowhere. They talk about the transformation and shit. Like skinny ass fucking like dudes that like 114, 113, 120 pounds. Skinny ass dudes that I'll say jack up in like a couple of years, or maybe 3 or 4 years. They jacked up, gained like, you know, 50 pounds of fucking muscle in that, which you can. Because the honest truth is, you'd be very surprised how much you can gain if you get a good routine going. I don't think a lot of these people, like, one guy was talking about, like, Philly on that. He's got a big ass channel. Like, he was at 1 million subscribers. I had no congrats to him. He's just like, everybody's on juice. Transformation fast, yes. If you've been working out for 10 or 15 years and that, and you build like 50 muscles, 50 muscles, 50 muscle points. Yeah, it gets points. But if you built 50 pounds of muscle in that because you had none at all, yeah, you could build up 25 pounds of muscle in a year because you have none. Like the beginner build a muscle that you'll grow really fast. You'll get really big really fast, but you're not really getting big. You're just like, you're getting normal. You become that average build. Your genetic potential is just explodes everywhere. Doesn't mean that. I feel bigger. My forearms are bigger than that. I'm getting really fucking strong. Like, really fucking strong. I can do a lot of forearm exercises now, and I can do like 35 pounds. What I do is I put my hand, I go on the bench, I get on my knees and that, and I put my forearm, and I let my wrist hang off of the bench. Or off of the, I guess it would be the bench. And I hold the weight in my hand and I let slowly go down and I pop back up. And sometimes I do a little bit fast motion, like 1 second down, 1 second up, to get that power into it, and try to get the muscles to get blood into it. I do 35 pounds. I can't even curl 35 pounds 15 times, but my forearms can do 35 pounds. That's weird. Because truth be told is, like, I work on my biceps and they like never fucking grow that much. They grow very small amount. I mean, they are growing. They are getting bigger. Yeah, I can say that. And I'm thinking maybe because I'm not recovering enough and I'm doing too much load on them. Right now, when I try it out my triceps and that, my triceps have like no pain in them. And they're getting thicker. I can feel them getting thicker. My bicep, I tighten my bicep and that, oh my god, there's pain in it, like muscle pain. Like if I rub on the muscle and that, I feel like pain. Oh man, okay. Woo! All that food's pumped through me. I gotta take a dump. I'll be right back.
Come on now, Scrappy.